Well, first tonight, a father's tribute to his caring wife and their two little angels who were killed by the next-door neighbour. Jamie Barrow set fire to Fatoumata Hadara's flat in Nottingham in the middle of the night. Well, today, Barrow's been found guilty of murder after a trial at Nottingham Crown Court, as our social affairs correspondent Jeremy Ball reports.
A hugely emotional day for Fatoumata's husband and his supporters here. Her killer never denied setting fire to the flat, but he claimed it was manslaughter because he thought the family was away at the time. Today, though, the jury found Jamie Barrow guilty of 3 counts of murder. And tonight, new footage has been released by Nottinghamshire Police. The horrific scene that greeted firefighters on Fair Isle Close last November, smoke billowing from a first-floor flat. A huge rescue operation, but it was too late. This was Jamie Barrow.
Yeah, can I nip in and get some waterproof gear?
Asking the police about the fire he'd just started.
Is it that bad?
Listen to his response when they try to take his details.
Say again?
That's fine.
Within hours, the full horror of Barrow's crime was crystal clear. He'd poured petrol through the letterbox and set it alight. His victims didn't stand a chance. Fatoumata had been Barrow's next-door neighbour for years. She was trapped with her daughters, Fatima and Nima. Other neighbours heard them screaming, but there was no way out. This is a recording of Barrow calling 999 later that day.
Nottingham Police, hello speaking, how can I help?
Hello, my name's Jamie. I live on Fair Isle Close at number 19, next to where the fire was earlier this morning.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if there's any update on whether I'm allowed back into my property or not.
Barrow even asked about compensation for fire damage to his own flat, but these CCTV recordings showed what he'd been doing that night. Here he's buying 6 cans of lager from a local shop. He went out again for more beer before starting the fire. And watch the left-hand side of this recording. That flares from flames that were tearing through Fatoumata's flat just out of view. This is Barrow calmly walking away shortly afterwards.
Which room?
But just hours later, Barrow gave himself up.
Stand up. Hands on your back.
As these officers made house-to-house inquiries.
Right, Jamie, obviously what you've said when we've got in, you said you wanted to tell us something about what's happened and you said you were going to hand yourself in. At this point in time, I'm going to place you under arrest for murder ×2, OK? You remain under caution, you don't have to say anything.
Arrested for causing the deaths of the smiling young girls in this family video. 2 sisters and their mother killed by their neighbour in the prime of their lives.
Jeremy is with me in the studio. I can only just imagine, can't you, what it's been like for Fatoumata's husband with all of this. And he was so brave, wasn't he, because he actually stood and spoke outside the court today.
Yeah, we're talking here about Abu Bakr Drame. Now, you might remember, Anne, that he was working overseas when his wife and daughters were murdered, and they were actually making plans to go out and join him in the United States. Now, today he gave this really powerful statement outside court, surrounded by supporters, describing Barrow's crimes as heartless and cruel. He said words simply couldn't quantify his family's pain, and he went on to thank communities from different backgrounds in Nottingham for all their support. And here's what he had to say about his wife, Fatoumata.
If love and compassion could make a person immortal, she would have lived forever. She had a pure heart and was greatly loved by these people. She was most incredible mother to Fatima and Naima, 2 angels who deserve a very beautiful childhood and a full life.
That's so sad. But why? Why did he do it? Does anybody know?
Well, there were obvious questions about whether this might have been about his victim's race or religion. And today, 2 of the family supporters told me they still have serious questions about that. But what the police say is that was investigated thoroughly and they didn't find any evidence at all of a hate crime. And there were other theories that Barrow was trying to get rehoused, that he was upset about rubbish left outside or noise from the children coming through that shared wall. And the trial heard we might never know the motive for these murders.
The fire took away a loving husband's wife and children, whose dreams of a happy future together in America were snatched away by Jamie Barrow's barbaric actions. He denied the killings were deliberate. Thankfully, the investigation team was able to provide overwhelming evidence that this tragic event was indeed murder.
And those murders, Anne, were then described by Claire Dean as horrendous and utterly senseless crimes, which she said were committed by a cruel and dangerous man. And Barrow is due to be sentenced this Friday.